Do you have a hard time staying focused on a task or project at hand? Or maybe you struggle with negative self talk. My answer to both of those questions would be yes and yes. I have found that there's a simple technique that can help us out when it comes to focus, but also minimizing those distracting negative self talk as well. And that concept is bounce hit. Now, I first heard about this concept from a colleague of mine named Roy E., and he had gotten it from Tim Galway's book, The Inner Game of Tennis. You see, Galway recognized that some of his tennis students, they were getting distracted, not paying attention to the ball, especially in longer rallies. So he came up with a simple exercise. Every time the ball hit the court, the student would yell, bounce, whether it was on their side or the opponent's side of the court. And then every time that the ball hit either their racket or their opponent's racket, they'd yell, hit, bounce, hit. This simple technique proved to be powerful. You see, what it did was, as the players focused on saying the words bounce and hit, it minimized the distractions and allowed them to be able to focus on the task at hand, which was following the ball and then hitting the ball. Now, I'll tell you, this concept, bounce hit, it's not just for tennis. It is so important in everyday life. So let me share with you how I use the bounce hit concept. So for me, I get the great opportunity to do a lot of public speaking. I get to facilitate a lot of workshops. Now, most of the time, it's content that I've already taught, right? I've taught this content over and over again before, all right? So with that being said, there are two potential pitfalls that I have to watch out for when it comes to training or delivering these workshops. The first one is I can just go on autopilot. I've taught this so many times before that I can basically teach it in my sleep, and I'm not paying attention or being in the moment. Secondly, just like anybody else, I have to deal with negative self-talk or emotions. It's so easy to get anxious, wondering, what do the audience think about myself? What do they think about the content? Are they paying attention? And then not to mention that Zoom, as it's harder to see people's facial expressions and demeanor, it's just enhanced that negative self-talk, if you will. So for me, I've started to use the bounce hit concept. I use it by saying 3 different words to myself when I'm giving a presentation or facilitating a workshop. Those words are purpose, passion, and presence. You see, purpose helps me to really think through, am I being clear with my benefit statements? It helps me to focus on the words that I'm saying. Passion, it reminds me that I believe in this content. And so it really helps me to focus on my energy and the way I'm delivering the content. And then finally, presence. It helps me to be able to stay engaged in the moment, to focus on the audience. You see, I might have taught this content 100 times before, but for those who are in the session, this is the first time that they've been there. So I want to make sure that I stay present and engaged with them. That's the concept. Bounce it. Very simple, but very powerful as well. So our game plan this week, it's simple. What's your bounce hit? Take some time to think through what's a word or phrase that you can say to yourself that's going to help you minimize the distractions and increase your focus on the task at hand. Well, let me leave you with our tweetable lesson. It's by Trevor Mohad. Negativity affects us negatively 100% of the time.